Hello, friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. Egg form existed 10 days before your mother was born.
Yeah.
So you existed 10 days before your mother's birthday. So. Yeah.
And you're sitting inside my grandma. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah. So
it's like a turducken, like a.
Yeah, it's like a turducken.
A chicken inside of a turkey inside of it. Or, yeah. Chicken inside of a turkey. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like that. You can find Fort Worth Roots on all of your favorite streaming services, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and many more, just by looking up Fort Worth Roots. It's also the same on all social media platforms, and we have videos associated with these accounts. You can find that on YouTube. Everything is Fort Worth Roots. Real quick, at the beginning of every episode, we always talk about one of our awesome sponsors. We want to tell you this week about McFly's Pub, 6104 LTJG Barnett Road here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a 1980s Back to the Future themed bar with a very impressive outdoor area. You can hang out and bring some friends for pool, darts, cornhole, jumbo Jenga, and catch a live event with local musicians on stage multiple times every week. Tuesday, they've got Tommy Luke, who was out at Arts Goggle this past weekend. And anyway, he does an open mic every Tuesday at McFly's. There's always something crazy going on there at McFly's Pub. So check them out. Social media, it's just McFly's Pub. You can find some of their content on the Fort Worth Roots social media pages, or you can find them by going to McFly's Pub on social media pages like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Easy to find. Always something going on right here in your backyard in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's episode is an extremely important episode out of the entire 172 episodes we've done in the Fort Worth Roots podcast catalog. This one is definitely unique. I have been adopting temporary co-host throughout the history of the show, but we've never had a regular co-host here at the Fort Worth Roots podcast. That all changes today as we bring in our first ever second team member, full-time team member to the Fort Worth Roots podcast family. And we appreciate this person so much because not only have they been helping behind the scenes as we try to get these events going and doing all the social media stuff that we do and the episodes that we release every week, but they have also been helping with the events and just making sure that we're crossing all our T's and dotting out all our I's. So even though we're just now inducting a co-host into the Fort Worth Roots podcast, this is somebody that's been working with us for months and months and months, and we simply couldn't do it without them. Thank y'all for being here, and please give it up for the new co-host of the Fort Worth Roots podcast, Mrs. Megan Eilrich. Thank y'all for being here. Let's start the show. Hello, friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode. I'm here with Megan Eilrich, our new host of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I could call you co-host, but you're going to be just as important here as me, so why call you co-host?
I could never.
Could never what?
Be as important as you.
That's ridiculous. Well, thank y'all for joining us today. We've got a what do you call this? We got an itinerary. We wrote notes down this time.
You wrote notes down this time.
I did, yeah. And you read them, and you approved them.
Yes.
Okay.
I was half asleep.
And something we didn't discuss in this, but I want you to, feel free to ask me questions too if that helps the conversation, right? But this is all about you.
Oh boy.
And our new host for the Fort Worth Roots podcast.
My little audience over there.
Yeah, we've got the dogs off here, our right, stage left. And they're just hanging out. We decided this would be the best. Well, I decided this would be the best spot, and you said it was okay. So
it's good.
Here we are.
Get a picture of it real quick.
At our Weatherford office. We got this big, pretty field behind us, and the little doggos. Our studio
Jack's
audience.
Moved.
He'll be back. Don't worry about him. All right. So I guess this is kind of throwing me off. I'm a little confused by our setup here, but
why?
We'll get through this. I don't know.
What's confusing?
We're outside. We've got a new TikTok live thing going on, and we'll talk more about that in this episode. But we're gonna start doing these regularly on TikTok Live because I like the platform.
Yeah,
It's been good. Tried it on YouTube, and that was okay. But we've got a lot more friends on TikTok now.
All the kids these days and their TikToks.
And they're daggum old TikTokers. Okay. All right. Let's just start off with these questions, and then eventually the awkwardness will fade away. It's not awkward on your part. I'm just having a weird morning, I guess. Something about this feels strange. I think because I can look over there and see, like, we have a giant West Texas field behind us.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the dog's just sitting there judging us.
Birdie is a judgy little...
She's trying to put me to sleep. Look at those eyes. It's nap time eyes. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your weekend. And you made a trip to Pennsylvania. We'll get to that next.
I did.
But our weekend started off together at Arts Goggle.
It did. Yeah, we got up. I took yesterday off so that we could go do some stuff because right now we have opposite days off and it's hard for us to get full days together. So
yeah,
I burned a vacation day and we did Arts Goggle and then we went to Six Flags for Fright Fest.
Slow down. We got to talk more about this Arts Goggle. First of all, you didn't take the day off just for Arts Goggle. This was a day that you already had planned off.
I had the whole weekend planned off. I was supposed to be off of work for like 2 whole weeks.
Yeah.
And
but that thing fell through.
Yes.
And so we just kept that day off.
Yeah. So we could see one of my best friends and because I don't see her because her days off are also normal people days off. And
normal people days. Yeah. So that was your first time at Art Goggle, right?
It was. I had never heard of it until
I think this
a
year
week or two ago
is the biggest. I've never seen it this big. They had extra side streets, extra fields, extra parking lots, all blocked off with something crazy going on just around every corner. That's the biggest I think I've ever seen Arts Goggle. So you picked a good year to go.
It was a good year. Yeah. I mean, I think we only saw maybe a quarter of it.
Yeah, we saw about probably 8 blocks, and there's what were there like 12 or 14 blocks, but we didn't go down both sides of the blocks.
No, we tried to.
Yeah, but we were a little pressed on time. We did get to try out a new restaurant down there, the new pizza place.
And they do have the gluten-free pizza crust, and it was probably the best pizza that I have ever had.
Yeah, Fort Worth needs to step up its GF game.
It does.
But we found some pretty cool places.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
A lot of places right now, I think, are getting more into it, and especially options like pizza places are getting gluten-free crusts, and a lot of other places are getting like gluten-free buns or bread to help with like sandwiches and burgers. But
yeah.
that's about it.
Do you remember the name of that place?
I don't.
I'll try to put it in the show notes if we remember. But
look it up real quick.
It's right next to the egg place.
I don't remember the name.
F and Egg.
Oh.
F and Egg is the new breakfast place down there, and they are a chain restaurant. So we've got the outsiders moving in on our home turf, but I feel like I've eaten at one of those before, and they're pretty damn good. And she's looking up the pizza place right now, but it was right next to one of the sound stages that I didn't even know was going to be part of this. They had more stages this year. Mm-hmm. They didn't just have an east and west stage set up. They had one right in the middle, and that's where the pizza place. Where'd you find it? It
was a Pie Tap Pizza Workshop and Bar.
Yeah. We did not go inside. We were out on the street. They had a little kiosk set up out there, and we ordered right off of the menu outside, and they had to special make that one.
They did.
They had like some hot and readies ready to go, but the GF was special order.
Yeah, and it was fantastic.
So got to see Dustin Snyder out there with plastic object photography.
Mm-hmm. We bought some prints from him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Very cool artwork.
It was very cool.
And then shortly after that, Six Flags. The first time I'd been to Six Flags in probably 6 or 7 years. And that was awesome.
Last time I was into 2020. So.
And Six Flags is in Arlington, Texas, not to be confused.
Yeah, Six Flags over Texas, because there's many Six Flags.
There's only one in my book. I grew up with this place, and I don't think I've ever been to a Six Flags other than Six Flags over Texas.
I've been to the Great America, which is outside of Chicago.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the only other one I've been to.
Yeah.
But we have Fiesta, which is
San
not too
Antonio?
far. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing, and I kept saying this over and over again as we would get off of these rides, but these roller coaster rides, they hit different at 38. I've noticed. So I don't know if other people are having that experience, but there's a difference between riding a roller coaster as a kid and riding one as an adult.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just your
personal
experience.
observations.
I think the only coaster I've ever really had an issue with recently is one in Universal Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And
which one was it?
The rock and roll roller coaster. I can't remember the exact name of it.
Huh.
That was rough. I
Wow.
left that with a migraine.
Wow. Could have happened at any age group.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know more about our co-host.
Okay.
Where did it all start, Megan?
Trying to figure out this morning, counting backwards, and then you decided to drop the little factoid on me that apparently my mother, when she was born, or how long,
So the thing that Megan was trying to add up was, she's like, okay, where did it really start, you know?
It was July 1985.
There's her birth, but then, there was the stuff that happened before that. But if you really want to dial it back, and I heard this factoid the other day, and I don't know that it's true. I did not research this. But apparently, a woman, when she's born, she has all the eggs she's going to have for life, right?
Yes.
So you, in your egg form, existed 10 days before your mother was born.
Yeah.
So you existed 10 days before your mother's birth date. So
yeah, and you're sitting inside my grandma. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, so
it's like a turducken, like a
yeah, it's like a turducken,
a chicken inside of a turkey inside of it, or yeah, chicken inside of a turkey. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like that. Well, anyway,
thanks for that.
Other than that, all right. So where were you born? What state?
I was born in Illinois, 1986.
Okay. And how long were y'all in Illinois before making the move?
I think I was 3 when my mom and I moved to Pennsylvania.
So you really don't remember much from that?
There's actually, I do remember quite a bit, which is unusual, I think, for under the age of 3. But, yeah, I mean, most of my life I grew up, and my hometown is where I grew up in Pennsylvania, because that's basically where I was most of my life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So the family moved to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And you were there from age 3 all the way through school until you got ready to go to college. And
I graduated college from there, and I was on like a Friday, and then Monday I moved down to Texas.
And the little bitty town in Pennsylvania was so small that you had one place you could get videos.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
It was, yep. And it was also a Subway, also a convenience store, and also a like a Hallmark type of thing where you could get like gift cards and
we'd gotten on the conversation the other day about renting videos and how that was something that's, it's gone. You might still have Redbox machines in some places where you can go and you get your Redbox video and then you got to return it. But that's like the last remnants of it. Mm-hmm. Whenever we were kids, it was kind of like a Friday night activity. You would go to Blockbuster and you'd mill around for an hour trying to decide which overpriced VHS cassette you wanted to rent.
Yeah, I actually just saw a TikTok about that, and it was like things from, your childhood that you think about, and it was like, kids these days won't experience the pain of going to Blockbuster and not being able to get the movie you wanted because they weren't there. It's like, oh, you go and you get so excited because you want this new whatever movie, and you go and you find like the case on the shelf, and then there's no VHS behind it.
Yeah, it's tragic.
It is very tragic. Yep.
But that was part of growing up in that time period, and it's been lost. We'll never get it back. Yes. But so I was a little shocked to find out that you had to get your rentals from a Subway / gas station /
Yes, and literally like the video room was maybe the size of a large or average size walk-in closet. Like, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not big.
Just a few selections.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what we had. Made it work.
All right. And then our new host moved from Pennsylvania after completing her college and ended up here in Texas.
Yep. Where
you then... we're not going to talk about particulars, departments or whatever, but
no.
What happened after you moved to Texas?
So when I went to college, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to be a police officer. That's what I'm going to do. And so time was coming up, and I was looking all around where I had family. So Pennsylvania, Arizona, Illinois, Texas, on where I could be a police officer at, and where, looking at all those things, the cost of living and pay and, all that, being very analytical about it at 21 or 22 years old. However.
Had it all figured out.
Yep. So I moved to Texas, had moved down here, got here on a Wednesday. No, I think I left. Anyways, it was like a day or two after I got here. I had my first interview with this department and ended up getting the job. So,
bam, done.
Yep, done. And then I had to wait all summer until the academy started at the end of August. So then I worked at Six Flags over Texas.
Very important distinction there. So that's another fun thing about this weekend. All the little cut-throughs at Six Flags.
I do.
All the... You got that place mapped.
I do.
For several reasons.
Yes, for several. All the main areas where to get around, but even like the little back areas that, as an employee, about.
Yeah.
And the girls that we were with, my best friend and her husband, they brought their daughter and her friend, and they're like trying to we're gonna go this ride, and I'm like, you're going the wrong way. That's not the way it is.
Yeah, it's easy to get turned around in that park because, honestly, when you're in the park, there's really no frame of reference. Like, it's hard to look around and go, okay, I know exactly where I'm at, because it kind of, more or less, unless you know where the rides are located, it all looks the same to somebody that goes there once every half decade.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have the inside scoop.
Yes, I know.
But you did a lot more than that, and over the last 15 years, you've had a lot of different hats that you've worn inside that department.
I promoted, so now I'm a sergeant. So I supervise little baby officers.
Tell them rookies what's up.
Yeah.
Tell us about your dog training days.
So I did several years in the K-9 unit as a supervisor, and probably one of the best things I have done. And one of the coolest. We had a great team. I miss that aspect of it. It was small. There was 5 of us, depending on the time of year, I guess. People in and out. Yeah. And learning the dogs and picking dogs and training dogs and doing the searches for, the murderers and the robbers.
The people doing things that
doing the
they
bad
shouldn't be doing.
things. Yeah. Going through the woods, always ending up soaking wet somehow.
Scraped up.
Yeah.
You got some interesting scars.
I do have some scars on my arms from it. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know how deeply we'll go into that aspect of your life moving forward with your co-hosting duties, but it's definitely a very interesting conversation to be having, and probably in the next 5 years we'll be able to talk more about that.
Yes, in the downward slope of the job, we got 4 years and 10 months left.
22 days, something like that.
No, it's pretty much 4 years and 10 months to the day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be looking forward to that.
Yes.
Very much so.
We're starting to plan for that now.
All right. Here comes my foot. Excuse me. Now we're going to talk about the podcast. We've heard enough about Megan for now. We'll get to know more about Megan through the rest of this conversation, but we're going to focus on the podcast. Any questions? Oh yeah. So right now, Megan is scrolling through the TikTok chat room, and we're going to be doing these Saturdays at noon from now on. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
right now it's before I go to work, but starting in January I will have Saturdays off again.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
So let's see, it's October now, so November, December. Yeah.
And it's like the second week in January, I think we make the switch. So.
Might be 8 to 10 episodes of Saturdays right before work. But other than that, we'll be doing lives. Excuse me. We'll be doing lives on TikTok. Myself, Megan, and our guest of the week. And then we'll lickety-split get that thing edited and released for our Monday episode.
Yeah.
So we'll have kind of a process here, which is something the show's been lacking for 3.5 years. So.
Yes. And this is my, I say third time, but the first time
it was just us.
It was just us, and that's in the family vault. That
may never be released.
No, no, I don't think it will.
We went on a trip down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and we'd been drinking all day. And I had the Roadcaster setting out, and we just jumped on and talked incoherently for an hour and a half.
My brother-in-law. Yep.
Yeah, he's like, now listen, can't be releasing this because I got people that depend on me.
I'm a very important person.
We're like, okay.
I don't know if you noticed. Just kidding. Love you.
Just a podcast, my dude. I don't think he's ever listened to the show.
No.
Nah. Okay, on to the podcast questions.
Yep.
Have you ever been a fan of podcasts? Did you ever listen to podcasts before you met me?
Nope.
Not one time?
Not one time. Sure didn't.
Well, that's the end of that line of questions. What do you tell people about Fort Worth Roots when it comes up in conversation?
That it's really awesome and that they should give it a listen. And then I hand out a sticker with a QR code so people can scan it and come listen to it. And they're like, well, what's it about? And I'm like, a little bit of everything. Mostly Fort Worth based. Talk to music artists, people in the community and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And they're like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Where do you see this? Hold on a minute. Yep. Where do you see this show in 5 years? I mean, you've gotten to see, it's not just the podcast, it's the social medias, it's the events, it's the friends that we've made inside the community. And lately with TikTok, we've been able to branch out and talk to people all over the country. Where do you see the show going in 5 years?
I know what we've talked about and kind of making it our goal for retirement, because that's pretty much lines up with I'll be retiring. So trying to get this really off the ground more, where we can rely on it and things that are related to it for work as we retire into the sunset.
We got some lofty goals.
We do have some lofty goals. Yeah, I know we've talked about right now it's just, Fort Worth specific and branching out a little bit more into other areas, like we, out here in Weatherford, and trying to start picking up some other things in Texas and other states. We talked about having our little correspondents in other states. And
Field reporters.
For Fort Worth Roots Press.
Yeah.
Just building the community and the reach in what we do, and even, traveling around when we have the opportunity and going other places and talking to more people. And, we talked about the reason you picked the Fort Worth Roots. The name is, our roots are in Fort Worth, but you can have roots and wings.
That's
be
beautiful,
super cliche.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. So to put a bow on it, we're always going to be a Fort Worth podcast, and we're always going to come back here to our roots. But we've got a mobile podcast studio for a reason. It's not finished out yet, but we're working on it. That's been a goal since episode 1. And so we're going to branch out. We're going to go see other cities and other states all over the country. And as far as we're talking about lofty goals, maybe one day we're getting on an airplane with our mobile gear and heading to other countries to talk to folks from abroad.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we'll just keep hammering away at it.
We've done pretty good. I think just getting on TikTok and expanding that way. It's become a huge platform, social media, and people are the influencers, and they're on there and they're making, enough to support themselves and their families, and which I think is great that people are able to do that.
Yeah.
So.
What would you change about the show? Just having seen what you've seen so far. Is there anything that is going on with Fort Worth Roots that you now coming into the show? This is like almost a change of regime. This is a new power struggle, or the tides have turned. What would you, now that you've got some control of this show, what would you like to see different here at Fort Worth Roots?
I don't know. I mean, it's really good. You've done a great job with building it up, and now we're utilizing TikTok and kind of reaching more people that way, and us starting to branch out into other areas outside of Fort Worth and getting some new people, some fresh blood, if you will, into interviews, and really expanding what we do and who we talk to, and get a lot more people interested.
So just keep going?
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Upward movement.
Let's see. All right. We already talked about this. Saturdays at noon. Every week we're going to do our recordings at the studio, and that'll be before you've got to get to work up until the schedule change next year.
Yes.
So we'll be pretty limited down to about 1 hour, which is what we've been trying to keep it around anyway. But we'll do that at the Fort Worth Roots studio. We'll do it live on TikTok every Saturday, noon Texas time.
Yes.
And
if we're on vacation, we'll do it from
take it with us,
wherever we're at.
And we can always do the recording beforehand and then release it on that next Monday. So have it preloaded and set up.
Locked and loaded.
And we're remote. We can do it at the Weatherford office. We can do it at the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do it from anywhere we want. The world is our oyster.
Unless you have a shell allergy, then you better bring an EpiPen, because the world is still our oyster. Okay, that's all the tough questions.
Okay.
What have you spent a lot of time thinking about lately? Like, what is taking up a lot of space in your brain?
I think most recently, we've been talking about downsizing the house and getting a little bit more property and working on being more self-sufficient in ourselves with homesteading and the gardening and some small animals. And so I've just been thinking a lot about that, and I'm making my Amazon wish list for Christmas, and my For You page is a lot of canning and homesteading and gardening stuff. So I've been...
The most interesting addition to your Amazon shopping list right now is is that a cast iron wood burning stove?
Yes. And...
which was actually a lot more reasonable price-wise than I would have thought.
Yes. I tried to find... I was on Facebook Marketplace looking to see if there was like an antique one for a little bit cheaper. And there are, but they're... people don't take great care of them, so they're kind of rusty and a little disrepair. So I was just curious to see what a new one would cost. And Amazon, which has everything, thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
But I mean, if...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holla at me, Jeff.
I think I support you myself.
Yeah.
With Amazon packages showing up here every day. Anyways, it was like about $1,200 for this big cast iron wood burning stove, and it has a couple burners on the top, and it has one or two little oven spaces. And I was like, when we move and we build our outdoor kitchen area, I was like, I want one of these for out there.
Yeah.
And I got on to the other night on TikTok, and it was like this lady from reenacting cooking from like 1800s, and she's cooking on like an open fireplace, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. I can do that. I can't right now, but
we're gonna need a new banner soon.
I know, it's gonna fly away.
Beat up. So she's been sending me videos of chickens and homesteading and gardening and rabbits. And yeah, I'm down. So there's going to be a lot of that on our little TikTok page, probably.
Yeah, just trying to be that more self-sufficient, I think, is important with everything going on with the world today and inflation and what it is. And, you never know. I think it's important for people to be able to take care of themselves if they can. And I'm trying to get family and friends to go in on a big piece of property and just have like a compound, like a little commune, type of thing. So nobody's taking us up on it. So
it's just be us for now.
Yeah,
which is great.
My mom would do it, but Dad was like, "I'm 70-some years old. I'm not gonna be moving to no homestead." Okay, Dad. It's fine.
Better not come over here looking for no chicken eggs.
Yeah, he does canning though. He makes he buys jalapenos and we'll do like call it cowboy candy, like the candied jalapenos. So he actually has experience in canning. So
just put him to work.
Yeah. Let's bring him like you do the canning. So been thinking a lot about that lately.
Well, and I think as everybody becomes more and more disenchanted, disenfranchised with our government. Mm-hmm. What's the word?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We're all losing faith in the systems that we were taught to have faith in. And so as that becomes more obvious, I think you're going to see a lot more people figuring out how to grow their own food, raise their own food, and do everything they can to hide from the government.
Yeah.
But we're not a political podcast, but
no,
we will support common sense stuff like, get some chickens, get some rabbits.
Oh, Melissa's on. Hi, Melissa.
Hey. Good morning, Melissa.
But yeah, I think it's just all these things you've been hearing about, like the lab-grown meats and these APO preservatives they're putting on fruits and vegetables that is petroleum based and like doesn't wash off anymore, and it's like all these things like they're slowly poisoning us, and
slowly as quickly as they can.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not everybody has that option, but
Rachel,
if you do have that option, you should try to probably hedge that way. So anyway, we're gonna be the prepper.
Yeah.
It's gonna be another one of those prepper pages, probably.
It's like a slow decline. One day you'll see like us in ghillie suits, like sitting here, like all suspicious of
talking in code. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it'll get that bad, but it's pretty easy. Yeah. I mean, even in a small area, people can do small gardens, and
we even thought about putting one out here. In the
backyard. I had a whole plan for half of the yard here, but I think we want a couple acres.
Got past that. Yeah.
In a little smaller house. So,
any words of advice or public service announcements you'd like to make to the Fort Worth Roots listeners before we get out of here?
Public service? I don't know. I didn't come prepared for anything.
That's okay. Well, welcome to the Fort Worth Roots. You've already been an integral part of this show for months and months and months, and you have helped me get some milestones out of the way, like our last September event.
Yes.
So it's not like you're a stranger to the show, but now you are officially today the second host, the first host, wherever you want to be in the lineup of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. So
co-pilot.
Yeah, something like that.
I know. I always joked about like taking your phone and doing a takeover on TikTok. Like people show up expecting you, and it's me.
We should
Surprise.
do that. We're going to do that. Y'all can expect to see that at some point. Okay, and do you want people to just follow you through the Fort Worth Roots pages, or do you want to start having people hunt you down on the social media?
I think TikTok, people can send do the friend requests on there, and my other social media is a little bit trickier. Just with my job, I've kind of made it a little bit harder for the people I deal with at work to find me. So
probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's it for now, and y'all can look forward to seeing us every Sunday.
Saturday.
What did I say?
Sunday.
Every Saturday at noon, recording here on our TikTok page. Yeah. And if you miss it, no big deal. The recordings will be available on YouTube and, of course, on all the streaming services that following Monday. So thank y'all for being here. If you are watching the live, stay on. We'll do a little bit after this, after we tie up the recording here.
Yeah.
And answer some questions for you guys.
And go through and look at comments and pay more attention to the TikTok.
We'll try to do that every week.
Yeah.
Time permitting. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye. Another huge thank you to Megan. One, for putting up with me. You can imagine. You see all the stuff that we're doing with the Fort Worth Roots podcast? Well, she has to put up with all that all the time. Not just when she feels like tuning in. It's a madhouse here. So thank you, Megan. And now she's been helping with the events, and I've talked her into working into the schedule with us. Every Saturday, she's going to be with us at the Fort Worth Roots podcast studio here in Fort Worth, Texas, at noon, going live from TikTok. We are Fort Worth Roots on TikTok, and we chose that platform because we're picking up some friends there. That's our most popular social media site. So you just kind of get in where you fit in, and TikTok seems to be the spot right now. Of course, we always live under a looming fear that TikTok is going to be uprooted and deleted forever, just because that seems to be the target right now. And old Zuckerberg and whoever else is trying to get these guys kicked off the platforms, they're not going to be quiet until TikTok is gone. So if you'd like to be on our mailing list, and this will ensure that we don't ever lose contact with you, regardless of what social media platform you happen to be viewing us on. We will start very soon a monthly newsletter that goes out, and if we ever need to do an all-call, let everybody know, okay, this is the new platform, or whatever could possibly come up. If you're on our mailing list, you'll never lose contact with us. So send us an email, media@fortworthroots.com. Send us your email and say, I want to be on your mailing list, and we'll make sure you're on there. Our mailing list people will be the first ones to know about any upcoming events, deals that we've got from local businesses and our sponsors. You guys will definitely be in the know before anybody else. So send us an email, media@fortworthroots.com, and get on our mailing list today. We will not be sharing your information with anybody else. The only exception to that is if we're at an event like September 23rd, and we are specifically telling people that this list that you're signing up for is for something specific. This last event, we had one with State Farm agent Nicole Dawson, and she was nice enough to offer $10 for every person that signed up for a quote. Now that right there is a specific example of whenever we did do that, but we'll make sure you know in advance. Simply by signing up for our newsletter, you are not going to be subject to anything like that. We're not going to just arbitrarily give your information to any third party ever, because I don't like that. I'm a person like you, and I hate getting all this junk email. So we're not going to do that. Now, we will put out our newsletter, and on those newsletters will be information from our sponsors, but that will come directly from us and not from them. And we will only be sending out one newsletter a month, unless something bigly happens and we need to send out more emails. But typically, you'll only receive one email from the Fort Worth Roots podcast if you're on our mailing list. Okay, got all that out the way. All right, little tongue-tied today. Let's see where we're at. Megan, thank you so much. And now that we're at the very end of this episode, I wanted to make sure that we don't turn this into a gushy love fest. But those of you that know already know. And those of you that don't know, Megan is more than just the co-host. And if you watch the video, you probably get that. I don't typically sit there with the guest of my show rubbing on her leg. Megan's my lady. And we've been dating for, I think, coming up on 6 months right now. And anyway, she's really excited about the Fort Worth Roots podcast and wants to be involved with it. And I've asked her several times, like, now listen, you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to, this is what she would do. And she wants to be a part of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. So we're going to start doing this every week, every Saturday out there at the Fort Worth Roots podcast studio, me and my lady, making things happen. So Megan, thank you very much. All right. Let's do these sponsors real quick. Let's get through this, and then I want to tell you some more stuff. Let's start off. We don't usually start off with Cowtown. I tell you what. Let's start with Crew Wear. Our newest sponsor, Crew Wear. Excuse me, just a second. Our newest sponsor is Crew Wear, and you can find them on our drop-down menu inside the Fort Worth Roots webpage. Go to fortworthroots.com. You'll see a tab for trusted sponsors. You can click on that, and whenever the drop-down menu shows up, there's crew wear. Click on crew wear. It'll take you to a site where you can get the 817 shirt that people stop me in the middle of restaurants to ask me where I got that thing. It's crew wear, and you can get that shirt and a bunch of other ones, all from our friend that just became part of the show. I've got some air in my insides. Sorry about that. Okay, Cowtown Nutrition, located at 5430 River Oaks Blvd. They offer a healthy alternative to that compulsory fast food craving. You can also load up on your favorite Herbalife products and learn about their fitness groups that they hold on location at Cowtown Nutrition. Check them out on Instagram at Cowtown_Nutrition. Pouring Glory 1001 Bryan Avenue. You know about these folks because you hear me talking about them all the time. How cool is it that we get to keep these sponsors, by the way? It's pretty awesome that they continue to support us. We love that. And I hope you guys love that too. I hope you love it enough to consider these people whenever you're out and about and trying to think of something to do or something to eat or somewhere to exercise or somewhere to get your roof or somewhere to buy a gift for an upcoming holiday or event or birthday. I hope you're really considering these people because they have been with us for a long time. Pouring Glory, just off South Main Street and I-35, 1 block north of Rosedale. Pouring Glory is a growler refilling station that serves craft beer and award-winning food with live music. And they're going to crank up that live music. They're going to see that more and more frequently as it starts to cool down outside. And you can find their information on Facebook and Instagram. They're very active on those. And also on the Fort Worth Roots social media pages. Body Machine Fitness offers a truly one-of-a-kind fitness experience. Your first class has already been paid for. Go to bodymachinefitness.com to schedule your first high-energy cardio strength group fitness class. With best-in-industry trainers, cutting-edge audio and lighting system. Show up early or stay after the class for the IR sauna and nutritious snacks in the lobby. McFly's Pub, we talked about these fools. A 1980s Back to the Future theme bar. Very cool stuff, guys. Go check that out. There's always activities going on there. Tommy Luke is always doing his Tuesday night open mic, which is always fun. Just look them up on all the social media pages. It is McFly's Pub here in Fort Worth, Texas. WoodPostMetalworks.com. Use offer code podcast817. They're currently building out the sign that's going on the front of the studio that should be done very quickly in the very near future. We'll get that hung up and start showing you guys pictures of that. They do incredible work, but they don't just do the signs for buildings. They specialize in, of course, the signs with or without LED backlighting, but they also do fence and gate repair or installation, light steel fabrication, industrial plasma cutting, and more. Houck Walker Originals, go to houckwalker.com. They offer a huge variety of unique and personalized gifts, also laser engraving to customize just about anything you can think of. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. These people have been taking care of the Fort Worth Roots podcast for a very long time. These are our OG sponsors. They got the ball rolling over a year ago, kind of pushing the envelope, making us work harder for it, keeping us motivated, and keeping a roof over our heads over at the Fort Worth Roots Podcast Studio. So give them a look, roofingsolutionsHouck.com online or 817-882-6520, and let them know you heard about them on the Fort Worth Roots Podcast, and they will give you a 50% off discount on a roofing tune-up, something you absolutely need. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then it's definitely been too long. You need a roofing tune-up. You need it right now. Okay, that's all of our sponsors. Just double checking, making sure I didn't forget anybody. Yeah, and you can get all this. You didn't have to write any of that down. It'll be in the show notes, of course, but you can also go to our website, fortworthroots.com, and you go check it out anyway. It's not a super awesome website. One day we want to have a much cooler website, but for right now, it takes care of the things that it's supposed to take care of. So one day it'll do all sorts of cool stuff, I'm sure. But anyway, there's a drop-down menu there. Click on Trusted Sponsors, and it will show you all the information from everybody we just listed off with connections either to their websites, their social media pages, or something in that realm. I think that covers everybody, but I'm not sure. There's a way to contact every single one of them through the drop-down menu. So very, very cool. All right. This is going to be one of those episodes that I'm going to tune back into 1,000 times. Megan, probably not as much as me, but I'm going to be looking back on this one to see where we were at together as a couple, to see where we were at as a podcast, to kind of gauge things. This is an important episode, so, and they spring up every once in a while. They're all important, right? But this is kind of a mile mark episode, and I'm really glad you got to catch it. Again, we're on all the social medias. We're on YouTube. Anywhere you want to look for us, we keep it Fort Worth Roots. Just search that and it'll pull up. We're Googleable. Also, you can just type us into Google and we'll pull up there too. 3.5 years, guys. 3.5 years, a bunch of events, a lot of friends, a lot of connections, 172 episodes. It's a lot of work. I know y'all hear me griping about it a lot. I try not to gripe, but I do want to press on people like, hey, it's it's a hobby, kind of. It's my love project. It's my project it's a passion project. I don't know what I'm trying to tell you. I do this because I love it. And since this is such a milestone episode, let me reaffirm everything that we talked about in episode 1 that I want you to know we still hold true to this day. We are still actively trying to develop a community here at Fort Worth Roots. What does that mean? We are trying to, every single person that listens to us on the show, everybody that follows us on our social media, everybody that comes out to these events, we want to make Fort Worth Roots a thing that whenever we're putting on an event, you know that your people are going to be there. That's our community. And we're really focusing on that right now. It's something that I've been hyper-focused on since the event. We might have been putting our energies into the wrong groups of people. But right now, I think, especially through these TikTok live videos, we're finding people that are genuinely interested in what we're doing. And I love that. And if you've been following us on TikTok, you've seen we've just gone wild on these live videos. Like we've been doing 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 live videos a day because we have found in that little TikTok live group a good community. And not to alienate the people that have been with us for the past 3.5 years. The people that keep showing up, you are our community. But we are going to be putting a lot of emphasis, a lot of time into these TikTok live videos because we're finding more awesome people like you, like those of you that support the Fort Worth Roots podcast, those of you that come to the events. People like you, that's who we're finding on the TikTok lives. And so we've really been pouring a lot of time and a lot of energy into that thing. And it's because we are hungry to really promote a community, a sense of community inside the Fort Worth Roots podcast. So we're hyper-focused on that. We're all engines, 100% driving off in that compass heading, trying to really focus on building a community. So I'm glad that you're here with us. Those of you listening all the way to the end of these episodes, you are obviously somebody that really cares about the show. So thank you very much. And if you would like to be a monthly contributor, we've got a full video that we're going to do on a rollout for what this means, all the different benefits that are going to come with this program. But we need your help. We need you to help support the show. It's going to be $28.50 a month for a membership. You can actually have as many memberships as you want. One membership is good for one person. We can't do a +1 on this. I made this as cheap as possible. Now, the reason you would want more than one membership is because there's going to be things to vote on. So if you wanted to have an extra seat at the table for voting privileges, you would get a different membership. If you wanted to bring your wife, your husband, your kids, a friend, you could do that. You could have this extra pass and you can bring people with you if you have multiple memberships. So lots of different reasons that you might want to do that. Like I said, there's a video that's going to come out very soon talking about what we're planning on doing with the Fort Worth Roots podcast as far as membership programs, events that we want to put on, charities that we want to donate to, ways that we want to reach out to our community and do more things. Using the podcast as a platform to really connect with the community. I think the further we get into this, the more we venture out into different things, the podcast is it's going to be the background. It's going to be the backdrop. But all the other cool things that we do in the name of the Fort Worth Roots podcast, that's going to start being the meat and potatoes. The live events that we throw, the people that we have out, the musicians that we put on stage, the money that we raise for charity, the connecting fibers between our artists, our musicians, our comedians, our authors. That kind of stuff is going to be very prevalent. And whenever people think of Fort Worth Roots podcast, they might think of the podcast portion of it last, and more about the good that we do as a community together. So if you would like to be a member of the Fort Worth Roots podcast supporters group, we're going to come up with names. We're going to vote on that, and you'll have voting rights if you're already a member. Email me, media@fortworthroots.com, and we will get the first draft of the form to you so that you can sign up for that. We're going to be giving you shout outs on the show on your birthday, your anniversary date, and what was the other one? Oh, yeah, the day that you sign up. We're going to be sending you gifts. We're going to be including special seating at all of our events. This is going to be the table for our members. They already have VIP seating right there. And we're going to just keep coming up with ways to make you feel special as a supporting member of the show. So, been spending a lot of time thinking about this. I don't know that I'm saying it correctly, and I hope I didn't agitate anybody by reaching out to our existing community, talking about looking for people to support the show. The bottom line is, I want to do this for you full time. I want this show to be better. I want Fort Worth Roots podcast to affect more people in a positive way. I want us to really get the wheels moving here in Fort Worth, and then I want us to branch out, go to different cities, go to different states, always returning to Fort Worth because that's where our roots are. That's the city that we love, and we will always return here to our base. But doing some travels, getting out, going to see other interesting things. Get the show involved in more things than just the arts, science, history, archaeology. Let's go find some dinosaurs. I don't know. Do you know they're making a mammoth? There's a mammoth, and they think by the end of 2024 they're going to have a real woolly mammoth cross-paired with an Indian elephant or something like. Anyway, it's crazy. There's so many cool stories out there. And I want to go hunt those down for you myself. I want to do that for you. So anyway, lots of crazy stuff, and I could keep rambling on this for at least 24 hours. But I won't. There will be a video coming out talking about specifics of being a member for the Fort Worth Roots podcast, a supporting member, and what that's going to mean for the show. So look forward to that. Okay, my God, that's enough rambling out of me. Megan, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for being a part of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. Thank you for all of your support. And I'm looking forward to another 250, 1,000, 1 million episodes, whatever we can do, however long we can keep this up. So thank you for being here with me. And I will see you next week. Again, Megan, thank you so much for putting up with me. Thank you for being a part of the Fort Worth Roots podcast, and I love you. I could not continue to do this without the support that you provide me with, and I'm so excited that you want to do this with me. So thank you, babe, and I'm looking forward to another 10,000 episodes with you. All right, that's it. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next Monday. Y'all have a good week. See you.